The Black Death. This is a dramatic portrayal based on the Black Death in Egypt and England, a comparative study, a secondary source about the Black Death, written by Stuart J. Borsch. The purpose of the Black Death in Egypt and England, a comparative study, was to explain the differences and similarities of Black Death in Egypt and England, and to tell details about the Black Death. A ship arrived in Alexandria. Aboard it were 32 merchants and a total of 300 people, among them traders and slaves. Nearly all of them have died. There was no one alive on the ship save for 4 traders, 1 slave, and about 40 sailors. These 45 survivors soon died in Alexandria. These empty ships would wash up in ports when the crew was contaminated with the Black Death and then would be spread to the mainland. The plague, Yersinia pestis, was said to be spread by rats, but as you know, it was fleas that actually spread it. The bacterium would spread throughout rat communities and would then get passed on to the fleas that fed on them. The pathogen blocked up the flea's esophagus, so when it tried to feed on a human, it regurgitated massive amounts of plague into the human host. This was the first type, the bubonic plague. This kind comes from a flea bite and cannot be spread from person to person directly. After the flea bites the host, the pathogen multiplies quickly in the human's body. The body tries to filter it out by putting it through the lymph nodes, which swell with massive amounts of the plague. Symptoms start to appear after about 2 to 3 days, and it is fatal in 75% of cases. Symptoms include bleeding from the nose and mouth, chills, stomach pain and diarrhea, blackening and death of tissue, along with hallucinations and tremendous amounts of pain due to the swelling of lymph nodes. The bacteria also affected the nervous system, causing extreme fits of hysteria. These hysterical sufferers would be in extreme pain from damaged nervous system, which compounds with the swelling, creating an agonizing experience. Frequently, the patient is knocked out from pain, but in many cases the victim stays awake, and the damage to the nervous system causes hallucinations and delirium. Normally unable to move from the pain, the patient will frequently lash out in a mad frenzy. An observer of the Black Death in the south of France reported that a man climbed onto the roof of his house and threw the tiles into the street. Another executed a mad, grotesque dance on the roof. The second type of black plague is the pneumonic plague. This is caused when the plague settles in the lungs instead of the bloodstream. The host develops severe pneumonia and starts to cough up bloody phlegm as the lungs bleed from the inside. This form is infectious and deadly. While death from asphyxiation occurs within 2 to 4 days, the cough can infest a household in a matter of minutes. The deadliest and rarest form is the septicemic plague, which is when the plague ignores the lymphatic system and goes into the bloodstream directly. It is always fatal, and death occurs within hours. It is thought that the medieval cousin of our modern Y. pestis is more toxic, but before the Black Death outbreak that killed many people, the original strain was not very lethal. Occasional outbreaks popped up here and there, but it didn't kill as many people that it was destined to in the future. The theory is that the plague originated in Central Asia and was contained in a place with limited contact with human and rats. The plague didn't host the black rat, Rattus rattus, but another species, the Manchurian marmot. This plague mutated in this animal, becoming deadlier and more contagious than ever before, but it is still similar enough to be caught by Rattus rattus. These plague-carrying rats would have gotten onto Mongol trading supply ships and then spread to Africa and Europe. Good pathogens keep their host alive so they can spread to one host to another and reproduce without a lack of hosts. Unfortunately for the Black Plague, it had grown so accustomed to the other species that it became extremely lethal. Value. This history source is valuable because it shows how the plague spread and originated along with how it became more toxic. Its greatest strength is that its culmination of multiple sources clumped together to make a source with rich detail and expert advice. Limitations. It is a secondary source, so it doesn't have first-hand experiences. It is also a research paper, so there will be more facts and no emotional standpoints. The biggest strength is also the biggest flaw. Due to the source having a multitude of sources, the author would have put his own spin on each one so that the data will be slightly warped. Thank you for listening. Kitten Sprinkles.